And you're watching It Came From the Radio with me, Lily, and Dominic Sperano, and Mark Torres, who is not here, our special guest, Patrick Reily, and Charles Saladino decided to show up today.
Oh,
Wonderful.
thanks.
Yay.
Well,
Thanks. I
Mark is
showed
on
up last
special
week.
assignment somewhere. He's searching for the cure to COVID.
Yeah.
He's the top
Mark,
man
can
for
you
the
give us a
job.
head nod? Are you okay?
Blink out Morse code. Let us know if you're all right.
Blink
Nope.
once
Yes.
if you want me to start the news.
I'm gonna guess he's gonna have to dub in like the whole intro and everything now.
Yeah, I'm not going to imitate his intro, so...
Please don't.
All right, Jen, who died?
He's one of a
Who
kind.
died,
Yeah,
exactly.
Who's dead?
Let's start off with a very uplifting, sad news. Animator and character designer Sue Nichols died recently from cancer. In 2015, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Sue worked on and helped create such animated films as Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, The Pagemaster, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, The Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, Lilo and Stitch, Piglet's Big Movie, Bambi and the Great Prince of the Forest, The Princess and the Frog, Mona, and Ugly Dolls, just to name a few. Of note, Sue is one of the people who wrote the story for the animated film Aladdin. She was 55.
Oh, I don't like that.
It sounds like she did like the past 20 to 25 years of Disney movies. So
Yes.
I expected to hear that she was 70 something. I did not think that she would be 50.
Yeah.
That's She must have gotten a job with like Disney when she was 30.
12.
Yeah, that's
You know they like to hire them young.
Yes.
only in foreign lands in China
Yeah.
where child labor laws don't exist.
I am just keeping my mouth shut about Disney. I stay out of trouble that way.
The
Well,
House of
in
Mouse
this
owns
time
you.
of job loss, I would love to get a child labor job in another country right now. Oh,
Oh,
more
The
sad
views.
news. I said I was going to be politically correct today, hence the wig and the Disney.
I
The views
love
and
it,
opinions
Jen.
of the people on the show do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station.
Did you views and opinions of people with pink hair? They're not.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly.
Why
Well,
pink?
let's get it off for
Why'd you
more
choose
sad
pink?
news. Actor Kevin Patrick Dobson also died recently from a heart attack after struggling with an autoimmune deficiency. Kevin appeared in such films as All Night Long, Restraining Order, Crash Landing, April Moon, The Representative, and Dark Power, just to name a few. On the small screen, Kevin appeared in such shows, TV movies as The Doctors, The Original Mod Squad, Emergency, Ironside, Police Story, Captain Kangaroo, Greatest Heroes of the Bible, Job, Orphan Train, Mark, I Love You, Margin for Murder, Tales of the Unexpected, A House of Secrets of Lies, The Conviction of Kitty Dodds, Burke's Law, Touched by an Angel, The Commish, FX, The Series, Early Edition, Nash Bridges, She's No Angel, The Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, Damn Sea Vampires, and Anger Management, just to name a few. Of course, Kevin's perhaps best known for being detective, who then went on to become assistant district attorney Bobby Crocker on the original Kojak TV series and as M. Patrick Mac Mackenzie in 291 of the 344th episode of one of Mark's favorite TV shows of all times, Knots Landing, which ran from 1979 to 1993. Okay.
Knots Landing was one of his favorite shows.
Yeah, he's a
Mark's
Wow.
reality, man. Mark reality. It's a
Yeah.
fascinating thing. It's weird. Mark's cultural taste is just really
amazing.
askew of everyone else's. How old was
Any
he?
thoughts on FX and Hawaii 5-0?
I believe he was 77.
All right,
He
well,
was
that's
77.
definitely better than 55.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
depends.
Still
20 years better.
Depends on perspective, you know?
true.
Some of us
Yeah.
want to go quickly.
Fair. Does anyone feel sometimes like the news is like talking to the guy in an airplane and you just want to hang yourself to get away or light yourself on fire? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. My personal would be the sword.
Mm,
You know.
there you
right?
go. There you go.
Smart. I like to stay in my own version of reality and not tune in. It helps.
I can we join you, or is it just a one person thing?
You can join. You can join.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
I escape reality with friends. I did today.
Oh,
Let's
good.
go on to the next news. From
Please.
the Holy Coronavirus Batman Department,
Oh.
despite numerous safety protocols, Robert Pattinson has tested positive just 2 days after filming of his newest movie, The Batman, resumed production in the UK. So now, anyone who came within 6 feet of Robert for more than 15 minutes would need to be immediately isolated for 14 days, regardless of whether or not they test positive, including any actors or stunt performers who appeared on camera with Robert without a mask, along with any crew members, which includes director Matt Reeves, if they didn't remain socially distant with the star on the set. Talk about insurance in indie films.
Yeah, I have no idea how you could shoot that movie and remain socially distant. Basically, they just have to shut the movie down for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, what was he doing during the hiatus that he suddenly got coronavirus? Obviously not quarantining.
Who knows? Maybe
I
he
don't
went
know.
to the grocery store. I hear the grocery store, there's people there. I don't know.
Who know? I don't know. What else is in the
Valentine's.
news?
From the What I Have to Wait a Whole Week department, recently, reviews for the second season of The Boys were released and praise was found far and wide, giving the series a 97% fresh rating. However, that was short-lived, as fans are now giving the show 1-star reviews due to, based on the comments, the fact and the second season is being released weekly after the initial 3-episode release. As of this recording, 9 out of 9, The Boys Season 2 is September 9th. The Boys Season 2 is listed as 2.5 stars with over 2,800 reviews. Reviewers say, this is from the reviewers, no full season available? I give up. Where's my Netflix? What a shame. I was looking forward and watching it. Now I'll just skip it and wait for it to be canceled, and then I can watch them all without any interruptions. Next comment. Appointment television in this day and age is both goshed and a tad thirsty, and I'm not nearly invested in this show to bother to come back every week. Have fun regressing. Maybe I'll remember this series exists when the market's push for season 3 hits peak frenzy. Talk about weekday cartoons and Friday cliffhangers.
Wow,
Okay.
Jen. Hey, Jen, you sound just like the viewers. If Mark was doing it, he would sound nothing like the viewers.
What?
No, yeah.
Just
And
to
you
know
nailed
that.
the voice. You nailed the
Yes,
voices very
you
well.
nailed it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
yours.
I
Yep.
live in Woodbury area and people are very entitled, so there are complaints. You know, not enough
There you
schmear on
go.
the bagel, not enough ice in the coffee. We hear it all. It's
That-
cold.
You got
It's
it.
hot.
Look, clearly the people writing these comments have obviously no particular life, have nothing else to do with their time, and has
Yes.
probably never seen a member of the opposite sex in the flesh for at least a decade.
You know,
Yeah.
I am so grateful I have no time to write comments anyway. And
Good.
If you
it's
got to go
just-
out of your way to like make a comment on a show, not about the quality of the show, but just the frequency of it coming out, you have too much time
Yeah.
in your hands. You may want to think about getting a second job or something.
Well, there's binge eating, which I did today. I'm
There
a
you
little
go.
sick right now. I put on 9 pounds in 2 days. And then there's binge watching of TV. So it is a bit of an addiction. So when people don't get their fix, they can get a little angry. I get it. Maybe they need some electrolytes from Patrick Reily. Maybe they do. But we'll come back
Good
to that in a second. We'll
segue.
wrwant up with
Yes,
the
Wait
we'll
a
come
minute.
back to that.
I want to go
From
back. I've seen you in person. You have no space on you to put 9 pounds. How did you do that?
Yeah. I was 130 Sunday, and now today's almost Thursday, 140. I had fun the last few days.
Okay.
Oh
I
my
I'm
wouldn't-
God,
extremely-
God.
Considering your job, I really wouldn't advertise this.
No, it's good. It's because I shouldn't be perfect. It's not
Just say
relatable.
muscle. You put on 9 pounds of muscle.
No, it's okay. I'm a food addict. I have
Okay.
clients that are, so it's okay. But we'll get to
God
that later.
bless you.
It's not perfect.
How are you feeling though? Did that throw your whole system off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then it reminds me of why I stick to my diet. So tomorrow I have to do a really crazy podcast. I have to be mentally here. It's gonna be wheatgrass and
You'll do it.
spirulina.
Oh, delicious
Hey.
wheatgrass.
No pun intended, Jen, but you wrote the book on that.
I did. But for today, it's not as fiery of a show, so I guess for you guys, I'm not that there. So speaking of not there, let's read the news that someone else wrote for me. To read
Mrs. Segway, go ahead.
segue from the I may not be Disney, but I still own you department. Recently, WWE released a statement wanting their wrestlers to stop working with, as of yet, unnamed third parties. I get it. WWE says, much like Disney and Warner Brothers, WWE creates, promotes, and invests in its intellectual property, i.e., the stage names of performers like The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Big E, and Braun Strowman. It is the control and exploitation of these characters that allows WWE to drive revenue, which in turn enables the company to compensate performers at the highest level in the sports entertainment industry. Notwithstanding the contractual language, it's imperative for the success of our company, WWE, to protect our greatest assets and establish partnerships with third parties on a company-wide basis, rather than at the individual level, which as a result will provide more value for all involved. While no official third-party names were mentioned, it's heavily implied they were talking about services such as Twitch and YouTube, where people can donate money for original streaming content, as well as Cameo, where people can pay for short video messages from their favorite celebs.
God forbid they make a living outside of Vince McMahon.
That's
I
it.
was like,
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
God forbid.
Yeah, he wants to own them.
I played Heidi Fleiss in a movie, so I kind of relate to this allocation of employees.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Well, ownership
Yeah.
of intellectual property. Just talking about this photography in every field. It's getting very hard to control. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
From the I want to get to the purveyors. So from the I guess my contract is over department, in a recent interview, actor John Boyega shared his thoughts on his role of Finn in the newest Star Wars trilogy. John says, what I would say to Disney is do not bring out a black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. Like, you guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley, you knew what to do with Adam Driver, you knew what to do with these other people, but when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, when it came to John Boyega, it all. So what do you want me to say? What they want to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. Nah. I'll take that deal when it's a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest, Daisy knows this. Adam knows this. Everybody knows. I'm not exposing anything. I'm the only cast member that had their own unique experience of that franchise based on their race. Let's just leave it like that. It makes you angry with a process like that. It makes you much more militant. It changes you because you realize I got given this opportunity, but I'm in an industry that wasn't even ready for me. Nobody else had the experience. All right. So thoughts about Empire, Bill D, and Finn, and this piece of news.
First of all, I'd say the problem isn't just that. It's that Disney hired people who seemingly didn't understand or want to know how to write really good Star Wars movies. They kind of just completely isolated George Lucas out of it. Like, George Lucas creates this whole thing. You might want to have had him a little bit more involved, just a little bit, because he was like, I was going to give you some ideas and give you some treatments of what I think you should do. They're like, no, never mind, George. You don't really going the way we want. We're going to do it the way we want to do it. Good luck with that. And I think that's why the cartoons are better than the latest movies, because Dave Filoni learned about the Force from George Lucas. So it was like a lineage thing right there. At the very least, they should have had Dave Filoni do the movies, do the writing, and Jon Favreau, like they're doing for The Mandalorian. So I think it's systemic of a much bigger problem with Disney and Star Wars. But I agree. I mean, Finn, there was possibilities for Finn, and they didn't really do much with that character, but they didn't do much with any of the characters. All the characters are kind of meh at best. Am I wrong? I mean, they were.
I'm laughing because you're absolutely right. You're right.
The best of the three movies, in my opinion, was The Last Jedi. The two that J.J. Abrams did they were fun and entertaining and tried to do a lot of fan service. There really wasn't much there. There was at least some attempt at depth with the Last Jedi.
And what I will say is my favorite part of watching Star Wars was going to the bathroom.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, is that all the Star Wars or just the recent ones?
Just the last one I saw. I liked going to the bathroom. That was good. It was a nice walk.
Okay, that's good. That's something. Okay,
That's good.
there
And
you
to
go.
wrap up the news, before we get to our special guests, to celebrate the release of their new movie, Bill and Ted 3, they've set the world record for the most people doing air guitar online at one time, with 186 people, beating the previous record of 100. So an 86 increase due to COVID, due to maybe?
Due to no one having anything else to do with their time.
Perhaps.
Well,
Perhaps.
At least not 186 people.
Right. I gotta tell you, you know what's cool about that? That record is excellent. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. For those who are listening to this, I just did an air guitar move. So
Yep.
Air guitar is a good workout, and I have
air
about
guitar is great.
7,000 calories of sugar to burn off, so maybe I'll do that
Yeah,
the rest
start
of the show.
shredding. Start
That's not how you
shredding
do
on the
it.
air guitar. If
That's
you want to
definitely-
really get a good workout in, try and figure out like the opening lick for "Sweet Child of Mine" and get it
Okay.
right.
Oh,
That'll take you a good while. That or Bon Jovi's "Dead or Alive."
All right,
yep.
Yeah.
all right. Patrick, do you have any ways that I can burn off all the sugar I ate aside from air guitar in honor of Bill and Ted, or should we stick with air guitar?
Oh, I like the little circular motion you're doing. That's good. That's like what we did in kindergarten. So if you just keep doing that for a couple hours.
Mike Tyson would approve. It's a boxing move.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Good move to do in between boxing. So, The Misadventures of Electrolyte and the Justice Purveyors. You wrote that? You created this?
Yes, I did. I'm the writer-creator, and met Mark at multiple conventions in New York City, and he was always a big supporter of me. I actually came on the show. Geez, I don't know when that was, guys. I think like 10 years ago.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
I look really
WGBB
different,
days?
right? It's actually
And-
Mark in here. That's why Mark's not here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you've changed.
Yeah.
So that was going back to the WGBB days.
Yes, yeah. Drove out to Long Island, like hung out at the radio station, had a lot of fun, and then drove back to Jersey. It's like
Way
I
back
was
when we were
there.
actually live on the radio.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
there. We had a blast.
Yeah.
I still have that comic book you gave us. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that was issue 1.
Yeah.
So
I still have it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the good
Remember, I
old
was
days.
telling you, I was thinking of, I said it was like, wow, how innovative is this? And it's still going strong.
Yeah.
So anyone who's not familiar, I have the character list here. I didn't memorize them, but they're great. We have the characters Electrolyte, Scaby, the Capitalist, the Sentence Finisher, which I've definitely done this show, sorry, Mr. Perfect, Sparkler, Zephyr, Musclehead. These are all really fun characters. It seems like a lot of self-improvement is a little bit of a theme. Other improvement, what made you create all these characters, or some of the characters, some of the inspiration?
So I started doing this probably about 11, 12 years ago, probably actually a little bit longer than that. And I was looking for comics I went to the local comic store and I talked to the guy and I said, give me a comic book that's funny. And he sort of looked at me, sideways, and then went through, his collection and gave me just, I think it was called Great Lakes Adventure, Great Lakes Association. I forget the name of the GLA. I forget what it stood for. So he gave that to me. I read it. It was kind of not funny. And I wasn't really big into the comic book scene at the time. I was when I was younger, but I wrote this screenplay and, I was looking to turn it into either a comic book or, just try to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a funny take on the superhero genre. So I went out there looking if there's anything similar. There really wasn't. So at first I didn't know if I should do it, but then I thought, well, if there's nothing out there, then it would be a good opportunity to put something like this out there. So just went to a message board, got with a bunch of artists. Actually the same artist, Butch Mappa, he lives in the Philippines, and he did all 11 of our issues. Really incredible artist. 12 years ago, wasn't really known. Now he's working for Marvel. So really talented. I'm really proud of him. And it's kind of funny. He's brought the same style of the funny superhero genre comic book into Marvel, into this, which they weren't really doing before. So it's kind of cool that he's doing that. But he's had a lot of success. I'm really proud of him, and I'm really glad that he worked on all our issues. So it's like really cool to see how he developed.
How did you two link up?
Just on a message board when those things existed.
Way
Called,
back in the day.
yeah, called Digital Webbing, and it was a place for all comic book artists to look for work and writers to try to connect. Everyone try to connect. The artists, the colorists, the letterers. Try to get everyone together to who weren't a big publishing house like Marvel or DC or any of the other guys. Who kind of put everything together. So it was a way for independent creators to connect and then, try to put something together.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I did it for 11 issues, all, with Butch, and the letterers and the line artists, we've kind of went back and forth on, and the colorists, but I mean, Butch have done, all 11 issues together. So
it's always amazing you can keep a creative team together that long on an independent. So congratulations on that.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, it was great because I can obviously when we first started out, I would have to give them a lot of explanation about what I'd want in each panel. As time went on, we kind of had the same sense of humor where I wouldn't have to do that anymore. He just knew, whatever I would write, he would just put it on, created in the panel, and it was perfect. So we just had that kind of synergy where I would have no notes for him because whatever he drew was awesome, and even if it wasn't what I was thinking specifically, he just came with a different version that probably works even better.
That's an amazing thing to have, because that it doesn't always work like that.
No.
Like, you're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. And he's a talented guy, really nice guy too. He's I still stay in contact with him. Trying to do issue 12. He's actually very busy now, so he said he could always slide me in and make room for us to do the next issue. But when Marvel is calling, I'm not sure if that's really going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean,
they sort of like.
He sounds like he has all the things you want in an artist. So that's amazing. You want someone who's going to be at least professional and good. If you can get someone who's professional and kind and like you can chill with, that's even better. So congratulations on finding someone for that for like at least 11 issues.
Oh yeah. Funny story is, so we did 11 issues. I never met him. So we never did like a FaceTime or a Skype call or anything. It was all over email. So I knew what he looked like kind of just from a picture, but we met up last year over the summer in New Jersey. He was visiting from the Philippines. So I got to meet him, for the first time, which was kind of wild. This guy you have such a big connection with.
Like a comic book pen pal.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny. Like never, have, this kind of mind meld, but, with similar sense of humor, and created all this stuff together, but never actually met face to face. So that was a big, it was a lot of fun. We, got along like old friends would. So it was really cool.
That's such a great story. I like that so much.
Would you continue working with someone that had completely different visions, tastes, way of speaking, writing, grammar than you? Would you try to keep that going, or would you just skip it?
Probably not. I mean, if that's those things are hurdles to overcome in the beginning, then it's just there's going to be a lot of issues, stemming from that. Just almost you would have to like, especially what I'm trying to do is like blend like humor and action and stuff like that. So trying to having to explain, well, no, this is supposed to be like a funny part.
Right.
That would be instead of like a serious action scene, and like an action scene with humor. That would be really like a burden to take that on. And, especially after working with Butch, where he just gets it. He just gets the flow of the story, the flow of like, this is when the action ramps up. This is the spot where, we do a couple one-liners, to get a bunch of laughs, and, And, that's not an action scene. It's, it's a story about a group of, low on the totem pole kind of superheroes. So they're the guys who are trying to get work in the big city. So just having that type of ethos and, understanding that would be a challenge to try to get someone on the same page who hasn't been doing it before.
Right. Yeah, I had to ask that because as an actress and model, I just got photos back from a shoot with someone that we think similarly or we complement each other. The shots are beautiful. From someone else, we're on different radio stations. I'm over here, we're just not meeting. Shots are terrible. At movies, it's just like if there's problems at the beginning and we're speaking different languages, there's probably going to be problems going forward. So I just had to ask another creative, since that's kind of the theme of my last 2 weeks, is like, can we work together if we're on different planets? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you might get lucky and it might kind of,
Mhm.
work out in the end, but, whereas like now working with Butch, I know exactly what I'm going to get. And I, don't have any editing to do with him. Just, it's all, what I get is what's going to be on the page.
So I'm at the website now, The Misadventures of Electrolyte and the Justice Purveyors. Now, the electrolyte is I have the power to sober up drunks and cure people's hangovers. I also can cure babies that suffer from stool liquidity. So just wondering, are you still planning on having electrolyte be the star, the main person? Are you going to shift who's getting the limelight? Because 2020, everything's changing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So the main guys are Electrolyte, Scaby, the Sentence Finisher, and the Capitalist. But over 11 issues, what I've tried to do is introduce a new character in every issue. So actually, the amount of characters we have in the series now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 22 characters, and they're all. I think they're original. They're not your run of the mill superheroes. They all have like a special power. But to your question specifically, I give like a lot of the best lines to Scaby. So whereas Electrolyte is like the straight man, Scaby who can shrink to the size of a bug and live on someone's skin. He gets a lot of the sidekick characters, sidekick comments and jokes and the best one-liners.
He's the Randall to the Dante.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you identify with him the most?
It's kind of weird, I guess. I guess there's a little bit of a character and a little bit of me in all the characters that I write, whether that was, unbeknownst to me when I first started off. Mm-hmm. Depending on, which aspect of the character you look at. I mean, like I was at New York Comic Con, and I think it was the second year, and I had my table set up and everything, and this guy came by the table and said, "Oh, did the artist draw the Electrolyte after you?" And I was like, no, the artist never met me. He lives in the Philippines, and the guy, Electrolyte has kind of like a cone head, like a little bit. He has like a comical head, and the guy was like, "Yeah, like you." And I was like, at first I was insulted, then I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess, maybe that is, also some like subconscious thing where, he kind of does look like me, unbeknownst. I mean, there's, I guess, a little bit of me in like all the different characters.
Just because, like, God, who is the guy who wrote Game of Thrones? Martin. He identifies the most with Tyrion, right? So Tyrion tends to get the best lines. And as Kevin Smith said, he originally wrote Randall for himself. So Randall gets all the best lines. So I was just curious if you kind of just like had a thing where you subconsciously giving some of the better lines to one of the characters because you saw yourself in there more than you thought.
Yeah, I mean, specific to your question, I guess I would want to be as funny as Scaby. Like in school, I wasn't like the funny kid, but I was like the kid who could like write for the funny kids. Or I could like think of funny stuff like after the fact, like, oh, this guy said this, but it would have been like twice as funny if they said this. Right. So I guess, I would want to be as funny as Scaby. I'm probably not in real life. I probably think of stuff, a lot funnier stuff, like after the fact, you know.
I think everyone thinks of it after everyone knows what the best thing to say is after it happened.
Oh yeah. No, totally.
Just like everyone gets that perfect People Against Humanity card, right? Cards Against Humanity card, right after you needed it. It's like,
oh,
I had that card.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
But specifically to your question, I mean, we're 11 issues in, so I kind of, and that's a question people asked me before, could there be offshoots for like a different series? Could like Scaby have his own series, and could like the Capitalist have his own series? And I mean, that was kind of what I would want to do, you know, if I had endless time and endless resources. That would be, you know, a really cool thing. You know, all the characters I feel like are have enough backstory and could, you know, sort of carry their own story arc pretty well. You know, Scaby's story would, you know, obviously be totally slapstick, you know, all the way through, and the Sentence Finisher would, you know, kind of be like a little bit more serious, and you know, the Capitalist would kind of be also, you know, living a billionaire's lifestyle, but having like some funny things, but, you know, more on like with like serious, you know, through line to the story. So yeah, it would be a dream, but I only have a certain amount of time, you know, to do these things.
Well, if you'd like to turn this screenplay cartoon comic into a film, the Capitalist could work with American Psycho, and Scaby, who hides out on a person's skin, could hang out with coronavirus that hides out maybe in the RNA. I don't know. I'm just thinking of science.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, sure. That's good science. I mean, that's RNA. That's good reference. I mean, that's, you know, I actually get a lot of emails from people who are fans of the series, and they're like, oh, there's a lot of science in this, and you know, I teach high school science, and this is really cool. You know, you kind of explain how electrolytes facilitate, you know, the entry of water into a cell membrane. And, you know, I'm an English major. I was an English major, so that's not my stock in trade. But I had to like look all that stuff up. But there's, you know, tried to make it as scientifically based as possible.
And really Patrick, the sentence finisher, which I could play with Helen Keller.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there you go.
Good match made in heaven.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Patrick, did you ever because I remember that first issue was funny, and usually when I read something and somebody tells me it's funny, it's not, but that issue was funny. I can only imagine how these issues morphed into hysterical issues. Have you ever thought about shopping it to Sci-Fi or the small screen? And because you have all these weird cartoons that are on that I do not think is funny. This would be a great series.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do that. I just do not have any of those connections to do that. I mean, if anyone out there has them and, you know, likes I actually had a you know, 5-minute animation made of the series. It's not on my website, but it's out there on YouTube. So yeah, I mean, that would be a dream, you know, if it could happen. The material's there. I mean, it's just someone who would, you know, pick up the series, identify with it, and they want to run with it, and they have the connections. That's, you know, I met a lot of people at the different conventions, you know, who, you know, make a lot of promises, and they're, you know, from, you know, Columbia Pictures or, you know, the guy from the producer from Harry Potter called me after issue 2, or got in touch with me. He's like, you know, I'm interested in this, and his son gave the issue to him because his son got it at the New York Comic-Con, and I was really psyched after that. But then that kind of fizzled. You know, I think he was kind of making his son happy a little bit that his son was getting into like the industry. Like, oh, good get, son. You know, that's, you know, let's put it on the production slate. And then, you know, a couple of months later, oh, we can't fit it into our production slate. But, you know, it kind of, there's like different starts and stops like that. So, you know, everything comes with a grain of salt with what, you know, people say at conventions.
Yeah, you gotta use the Robert Rodriguez method. create a little animation, a little treatment, and send out 1,000 DVDs all to
Hire
the
and always hire
networks.
Danny Trejo.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Hire
yeah,
Danny Trejo
yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
get some
definitely.
Machete don't text, man.
yeah, get some good
Yeah.
tacos while you're at it.
Yeah, man. Just
There's
go
a
live
good
down
Yeah.
in
taco
Austin.
place.
That's always a good move too. Just move to Austin, Texas. That's
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
best
I have a buddy who lives there. I should go out and crash on his couch.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. It's awesome down there. I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Wow.
I mean, most people do it comics and then the animation, but I do voice for a cartoon, There Goes the Neighborhood. I think it's brilliant. The people who make it are brilliant. It's really just two guys. And one taught himself how to do the animation. They have a lot of episodes. It looks great. And they don't have a comic. So I feel like if they can do it, and they're very smart. So it's not, they're not just anybody, but a lot of people can do it yourself. So instead of looking to other producers, perhaps it could be done through you.
yeah. I mean, I'm not an animator, so again, I met a guy on a message board who was in China. It was actually off of freelancer.com. I was listening to a podcast, and this guy was talking about freelancer and how you can post a job, and then anywhere in the world, people can see this job and respond. So I turned off the podcast, posted, animator wanted for turning a comic book series into animation. I got 50 people, and just hooked up with this one guy in China who was willing to do it for a reasonable price. People wanted like a lot of money, but this guy was very reasonable. Really redrew I guess there's different ways of doing it. There's some software where you can insert a skeleton into a character, and then you can that way make the character move. This guy just redrew everything.
Wow.
And really put a lot of time into it, and it's pretty good. I mean, I did one of the voices, and I got my cousin, who's really good at voices, to do the rest of the voices. So his voices are great. My voice pretty much didn't ruin the animation. That's the bar that I try to stay above, just because I was a news reporter, and it was awful. But I did him, and I did scabies. And the scabies, all you have to do is have a lot of saliva in your mouth. So that I could do that, but the reporter, I almost ruined the whole thing. But otherwise, it's really funny, and it's if you just go on YouTube and if you just look for the Misadventures of Electrolyte, the animation will come up, and you can check it out and
Awesome.
comment and see if it say it was funny or
Yeah, if you could paste that in the comments, or one of us can.
Oh,
We have
sure.
a question from the audience on Facebook Live to Patrick. How long does it take to finish one book, script writing included? That's question one.
Okay. So for me, to write a typical script for a comic book, like a 28-page book, it'll usually take 3 months. And that's with a ton of editing. The process that I go through is I end up probably rewriting the script 30 to 40 times after editing it, and that's just what I have to do to get something decent at the end. And then I hand it to the artist, and typically with a good, if the team is all together and they can just pass from the artist to the liner, to the colorist, to the letterer. If everyone can do that sequentially, that could kind of be done within 2 months. So I guess if you kind of got a start date and said, what's if everyone is going 100 miles per hour, what's the quickest you could get this done? I would say for me and for my team in like 5 months. If this was my full-time job, I'm sure I could do it a lot quicker. Or maybe not, maybe the ideas wouldn't come. I kind of wait till I get a good idea and then, jump off from there. I just kind of don't start writing off of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you could get that out to some script writers that are sending me their scripts, that would be great. Have your ideas formulated before you write and send me your stuff.
Yeah,
I have
sure.
another question for you from the audience. How well does the public react to you at your comic at conventions, since it's not mainstream?
We always have like a really good reaction from at conventions. One thing I kind of do is try to get a decent table at a convention. Try to get it. The last convention we were at, we got kind of lucky. I was right next to the creator of the Tick, and right across from the Marvel. It's not table, a huge section. They take up like a ridiculous amount of space, and that was kind of a blessing and a curse because
it's not a table; it's like a monolith.
No, yeah. And so that was a blessing and a curse because we would get a lot of traffic, and they had like an event like giveaways or anything, and I had someone's attention. Everyone would turn around and just look at the monolith. But pretty much, we go there. I give people like the hard sell. I stop people as they're passing by the table, explain the comic book to them. Whereas, they might not stop and look. And once I give them the pitch, most people laugh, most people get into it. And, from there, a couple, we hope that some people buy the book, the first issue, I get a lot of people who are return fans. There's a good selection of them. I mean, Mark could speak to that. I see him at every convention, and he shows up at the booth, and it's great to see him. And we get a good reaction. Once a lot of people who follow the series, the best compliment that I've gotten is a lot of those people who follow all the issues of the series. They say, the content that you put out is so much better than Marvel and DC, and that's why they come back and buy the following issues. So that's probably the most gratifying thing to hear, that we don't have a huge fan base like Marvel and DC, but the people who are into it really get into it. And guys tell me that they go into the convention, they come running to looking where our table is, and come to our table first to see what's the newest issue, and make sure that they grab it. So it's great. It's it's a funny series. It's not hard to explain. So when people hear the pitch, they're into it. They don't laugh, then it's not for them. And what I say to people is like, if you don't like to laugh, don't buy the series. And then
Usually,
if a lot of people look at me like, what does that mean? Then it's like, that's not for you.
Whenever I'm selling a book that's comedy, I always say, like, look, man, if you laugh, you got to buy it. If you laugh, you got to buy it. Put it in their hand, they start chuckling, like, you chuckled, man. Come on, man, you got to buy this book.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I say at conventions is we have a funny back guarantee on these books. So if you buy it and you don't laugh, you'll get your money back.
I like that. Funny back guarantee. I like that.
Funny back.
I might steal that whenever the next.
Absolutely steal it.
Who knows when the next time will be around?
What's up?
Some people don't like comedy. They really don't. So it is a warning that you have to give to people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's I mean, dealing with people at conventions, you get the whole range of people who are into it, people who aren't into it, people who like get offended by you like saying something to them, and it's kind of crazy.
My favorite is when you're trying to pitch them a comic book and they're looking like, I'm not into comics. Oh, good thing that you're at a Comic-Con then.
Oh yeah.
Those are my favorite people. I don't buy comics. Like, oh, so you just come here to be dressed up and check out the latest video games and movies.
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
definitely heard that too. Yeah.
Then don't walk through Artist Alley, or don't walk through the small press. Don't walk up and down the aisles. Just go from big media thing to big media thing.
I mean, one of the funniest things the guy said to me, which was insulting, but also very funny. It was around issue 8 or 9, and he walked by, and I thought he looked familiar, and I gave him the pitch, and he's like, what? I remember you from like 8 years ago, and you made 8 issues off of this stupid idea.
Whoa.
And I was like,
oh wow,
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's
that's hysterical, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't do anything but laugh. I mean, the guy was like, he was also like this curmudgeon character that you couldn't expect him to say anything but that. He was kind of like, he had a satchel, and looked like he had, gout in at least one of his feet, and was like, limping through the convention, and had a
God.
strap with like, I don't know what was in the satchel, and
You
kind of
don't want to know.
sweating heavily.
Yeah.
You just described half the audience of New York
Yeah.
Comic Con, basically.
Yeah.
Just like meandering down and just sweating and, sir, you haven't showered in this century. Why, dear
Oh,
God,
yeah.
why? Yeah. It's amazing first of all, it's just amazing that you've been doing like at least an issue a year, because I'll go to Comic Con, and I've been to Comic Con many times, and you see the same people with the same setup selling the same exact book, no progression.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow they get in every year, and they're always selling the same thing every year. So congratulations on pushing it to like 11 issues.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I would go crazy if I had to do the same thing and kind of be, embarrassed. Having new characters and new material is like what
all the
it's
time.
all about.
It's something that, as people wanting to break into comics, the ones that really do are the ones that are constantly producing new stuff. It's the ones that come in with the same portfolio, the same pitch. Like 90% of it is that, and they put in like maybe 2 months worth of effort, starting in August to get ready for October Comic Con. They threw in a couple of extra like pieces of art. Like, see, I've been working. Like, no, you haven't. You haven't been working. You just did like 3 pinups. And they show you this portfolio, or they give you, and it's like, no, man, like you have to be producing. People don't understand that. You have to be producing if you want to be in comics, because if you're not producing for the love of it, no one's going to trust that you're going to produce suddenly when you're getting paid.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, those are the same people who, it's fine, but then they're like, what you should do, what storyline you should do is you should, and they'll come up with this like crazy idea, and it's like, that's kind of cool, but you should do that. You should like do that with your stuff. And he's like, no, I'll just forget about it and just like move on.
Yeah. Everyone wants to do it, but not, it's really not as easy as people think. Lord knows it's not paying much either. So,
yeah, no.
You really got to want to do it. When I was a kid, and I thought like the comic guys, man, and you thought they'd be like movie stars. And then now that I know a lot of them, it's like, no, they're just in the same exact situation as me, just trying to pay rent.
Oh yeah. I mean, kind of the best analogy that I heard, and it was from a guy that was in a band, and he was like, I don't know, I think people don't realize that, people in bands don't make money.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, no, it's between everything, you get the, by moving everything, to getting, not really making money off the door, and you're kind of doing it just for, free beer. And that's and free beer, and you're having fun. It's like it's your pastime.
Charlie, we need to start a band, because Mark's not paying us in free beer either.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're not even getting free beer.
We're just doing it for the love of the game.
I call foul. I think there should be free beer.
Love of the game doesn't get you free beer, man.
No. So my question to us is, why the hell are we doing it? No.
So you should always
Jen's lovely, bubbly personality. That's why we do
Yes. And
so
how
bubbly.
wonderful, and how wonderful
that.
accessorizing values.
And the pink hair.
Yes.
What made you choose pink?
I have to sleep at
Wait
20
a
minutes
minute.
before we started. So, but you said, what'd you say?
Why'd you pick pink?
Because my hair is soaking wet, because I was in the shower 20 minutes before we started.
Oh, good answer. Okay.
And it's a comic show, so I figured it would fly.
Is that the only color wig you have?
No, I got like 10.
Why the pink one?
Because it's comic-y, because it's Disney, because I was told to be PG, and I'm not a PG politically correct person, but I was told I have to be. So I figured if I dress like a Disney princess, perhaps I can watch my mouth, and I would go full Disney. So I was planning to go full Disney. Hello, boys and girls.
Full House of Mouse for you today. Got it.
That's what the plan was. Oh,
well,
question.
Jen, great accessorizing between the wig and the lip color. Excellent.
Well, thank you. It was given to me. These are my dad's old glasses that have nothing in them. Okay, we have a question to Patrick. Are you looking to expand animation or live action like Amazon Prime, The Boys? Do you understand that?
Yes.
I mean, I guess. I guess that was what we were talking about earlier. If someone would like pick it up and run with it. I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, I actually just watched the episode of The Boys last night, and it's. I would kind of describe like like my series as like a G-rated version of The Boys.
Okay.
You know, not as like I like the series, but it's so, I don't know if it's just me, it's just so gruesome. With like
Oh no, it's gruesome.
Which is, you know,
It's
so
a much more realistic take if there really were superheroes in the world.
oh yeah. But it's I definitely like it, and the you know the characters are great, and the storyline is great. So it's so yeah, I mean, that's, if Amazon Prime wants to take the series and put the Misadventures of Electrolyte on Amazon Prime, I'm all for it.
You're not going to stop anyone from throwing money at you, are you?
No, absolutely not.
There you go. As Gene Simmons once said, for every dollar you don't want, I'll gladly take it.
Oh yeah.
No dollars you want, I'll take them.
Yeah.
It's true.
So question here. Someone typed in, Jen, aren't we all adults here? Less on BC 2020, be yourself. That's what I think, but this is not my show. So when I'm a guest on someone else's show, I play it cool. When it's my show, it's a lot different. Anyway, question back to what Dominic was saying about producing. You should always be producing, but I was just thinking about this yesterday. You know, you dealing with the different people who have different events companies, movie production, film production, comics, sketches, creatives. There's a lot of people out there that put things up on Facebook and social media almost every day or multiple times a day, and they are always producing, but they're not networking properly because there's only 3 to 11 people watching every single thing they post. So do you have any thoughts on the networking side? Because some people are producing, but they're not networking, and I don't think some people get that.
Well, I guess that would probably describe me. I just like produce stuff, but I'm a horrible networker. You know, I'm kind of like, I've tried like a lot of different venues, and you know, that's just not in my wheelhouse. So instead of just doing that, which I'm not good at, I would rather just produce content. So, you know, if there is someone who is eventually interested in the series, they say, oh, these are great characters, I can just say, well, I have 11 issues of content for you, and you know, so there's multiple story arcs, and you know, all the content's there. So that's kind of what I'm good at. I'm not good at schmoozing.
I don't think the schmoozing or networking is as important as people want to make it out to be, especially if you already have a creative team. Schmoozing and networking is great if you have a creative team. If you don't have a creative team and you need to find people, or find like a publisher or someone who can print your book. But since you have all that, just keep producing content. As the editor-in-chief of Marvel said in 2014, I think, you know, just be making it. We'll come find you. So just try and build the audience. I wouldn't worry about networking and trying to get in with the right people. If you build enough content and you have enough followers and you show that you're a brand that will produce money for someone, they'll come for you.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true.
Yeah. I can't produce money for anybody, so no one's coming for me. But you know, if you can really build up an audience, like and pick one or two, I would say, like either Tumblr or Instagram or something, and just work it. Just keep putting it out constantly. People love constant content.
Yeah.
Nothing's more annoying than when you got to wait if you get into something and then you got to wait for an unsubscribed amount of time. You don't know if it's coming out tomorrow. You don't know if it's coming out a week. You don't know if it's going to take 2 weeks. That gets annoying.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So I would say just keep producing and putting it out. That's the thing. Nothing's worse than the person who's like, but it's mine, I can't share it. Well, then why are you even wasting my time trying to talk to me about going further than this? If you can't share the work, if you're not confident enough to share the work, then it should just be a hobby that you do on your own and you do it at home. If you're willing to share it, then just produce.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the in animation lore, Ren and Stimpy, they were like notorious for being not only late, just like not coming out with new shows, you know, in a timely manner, and just made all their fans furious.
Right. Nothing's worse when it's good and you can't get it when it's promised.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we are at the end of the show. We might have gone over time a little bit. So final thoughts from everyone. We'll start with our special guest. Anything you'd like to wrap up with?
No, just thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Mark has always been a big supporter of mine, and Charles also. And And yeah, if you want to find the series, actually the best place to find it, and which I get the most reaction from, is on Kobo, which is like kobo.com, which is and they're all free on there. That's the only platform that would let me put up stuff for free. So, and it's worldwide. So I get the most reaction, strangely, from people in Canada and Great Britain. That has the most downloads.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, if you want to find the issues and you want them for free, please be my guest. They're on kobo.com. They're also on Comixology and all that stuff. You got to pay for them. If you want to pay for them, that'd be great for me. But you know,
Yeah, I support
I'd like to.
Artists.
Yeah. And you know, hopefully conventions will come back, and maybe I'll see, you know, some of you guys at New York Comic Con next time.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your time.
Patrick, it's good as always to see you. After all these years, we just connected at Comic Cons, but the studio visit was exceptional. I want everybody to check out the Electrolyte series. It's a funny comic. If you don't think this comic is funny, just go see a doctor. Actually, go see a therapist and find out what the hell's wrong with you.
They have a funny back guarantee. I mean, come on, you're gonna find it
Yeah,
funny.
come
That's right.
on. What
I
could
would
you
say
lose?
go to this gentleman's is my final thought, which I hope is not my final thought because Charlie didn't get to say it. Go to the Comixology, buy the book, support an independent creator.
Yeah.
It's nice that you want to put it out for free, but you should get paid for your work.
Thanks,
Yes.
Dominic. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Agree.
And if anybody out there has any influence and sees the series and could get it on to sci-fi, do it, damn it. There you go.
There you go.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you, everyone. I think that wraps up the show. And just one question, John, are you recording the show on your phone? If you are, go like this. I'm just curious. Okay, just curious. That's all. Thank you so much for everyone for coming. Thank you, amazing guests. And everyone get your electrolytes. You can have kiwis and citrus for electrolytes if you're running low. And also sea salt. Okay, we got to go.
There you go.
Take it
Bye.
Bye,
easy.
everybody.
Bye, everybody. Take it easy.
See ya.
We got to stand like this now.
Okay. Hello, John. Everyone